All right, so is this bad news?
Uh-oh.
Because Adam Schefter reported this last night. I guess he was not in a dust-up at the Combine, unlike some other reporters. But Adam Schefter reported that Abdul Carter has a stress reaction in his right foot. Tests revealed that on Wednesday, and that the Penn State standout will need to decide soon whether to have surgery, according to his agent, Drew Rojas.
Drew Rojas.
So I was thinking
That's
Penn
Tony
State.
Rojas.
Yeah, I was thinking Penn
What?
State.
It's
Damn.
Tony Rojas.
What?
It's
Well,
Drew Rosenhaus.
Tony
I know
Rojas.
what you got.
Yeah.
I got you.
Cross
Is that
the
how they
streams there.
Yeah.
Is that how the in-laws announce it?
No, they're not named Drew. They're named Diego. Yeah,
They're named Diego.
yeah. Tony
Hey,
Rojas.
don't lie. That's how the in-laws pronounce it.
I know what happened to you,
Yeah.
dog. It's all
thinking
good.
Tony
Rojas. I know. I got you.
Well, according to Drew Rosenhaus, there are mixed
Rojas.
opinions on whether he
The
needs
Drew
surgery. We will figure that out in the near future. So
I like that better anyway.
I know.
he says that Carter has two options here. He could have preemptive surgery, have a screw inserted in his right foot, and return to working out and running in about 8 weeks, or he could bypass the surgery, conduct his pro day at Penn State on March 28th, and prove to NFL teams that he doesn't need a procedure. So, Mr. Arrington,
yeah.
what do we know?
I know what you know. I know what you know. I mean, had I known that, I would have said something. You know what's interesting, though, when I was watching him walk around, I did notice
A little limp.
a little limp.
A little hitch in his giddy
A
up.
little hitch.
How do you differentiate kind of having that riz, kind of having that like
lean.
swagger?
He
You know what I'm
just
saying? Like, how do you
wasn't walking.
differentiate? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you differentiate the swag from having an actual injury?
Well, he
when
was
walks?
still swagged out. He was still walking with a little swag, but it was almost like he was walking like me. You know what I mean? Like,
I've seen some like old school cats. They have so much swag when they walk. It looks like they've got like a back problem or
Yeah,
something wrong with
like
their
me.
leg. But
Yeah.
that's just well, yours is more of like a shuffle.
I really do have a back problem.
Yeah, and you've got legitimate issues. But
Yeah.
like, I'll ask them about, is everything all right? They're like, yeah, man, that's how I walk. I was like, oh, okay. You keep walking like
You're
that.
right, though. You're right. Some guys do be having that. Listen, I'm not going to make too big of a deal about it. I mean, obviously, if you're being projected as the number one overall pick on some people's boards, then you're going to garner a lot of attention. And if something like this becomes common knowledge, I'm curious, did he even know? You know, I don't know that he knew that, and they might have discovered that during the medical. You know, the medical procedures that take place where they go over your body and because I almost feel like it would have been better, and this is a misstep, if I'm the agent, I think it would have been better if you allow people to know that, you know, I'm letting my foot heal up and I'll be ready to go for the pro day. And just put it out there. Like, I thought it was his shoulder, the reason why he wasn't, you know, participating. But it makes more sense if you're saying that you have an injury on your foot that just needs time to heal.
Maybe this was the
Right.
Notre Dame injury that we thought they were referring to the shoulder, which he suffered
Maybe.
against Boise State.
There's also the reality that they'll discover injuries at the combine. Like, again, we always try to go back and explain to people the origin or the reason for the combine is for the medicals. First and foremost, that's always what the rationale was for why they needed some event like this. And obviously it's grown, as you heard Pete kind of talk about, all the different people that are around it, not just like the agents. It's like the insurance agents, guys trying to sell you insurance. There's chiropractic conventions. There's like trainer conventions. There's strength training conventions. There's different products from like ankle to knee to shoulder, braces and so forth. I mean, it is all going on at this time of year at the combine. Like I really had no clue until I'd gone there for a series of years. And you just walk around different hotels and different conference rooms and you see like what's going on. You're like, holy cow. Like it is Look, the Super Bowl is the Super Bowl. It's kind of a separate event. As far as all the other parties that work with NFL players and around NFL teams, I would actually argue the Combine has more people there for that specific stuff than at the Super Bowl, because the Super Bowl is more of, again, it's different partners and corporate partners, et cetera. It's just a little different. But the Combine's right up there. I mean, it is a huge event for the NFL. But what a lot of people don't understand is there's times where players discover injuries. Like, they'll go in there and they'll do different tests and they'll do MRIs and all kinds of stuff. And you'll walk out of there with like an executive physical like you've never had before in your life. And they'll be like, yeah, you've got an issue in your left shoulder here. You've got actually an issue in this knee here. And, you'll sit there and be like, I had no idea. They're like, yeah, you'll probably need to get that cleaned up at some point. I mean, it is one of the craziest things when you have 32 different medical staffs.
Yeah.
Take a look at your body.
Poking and
never, ever the rest of your life will you have that thorough of a process and examination of your body to determine what's wrong with it.
Now, how would this be missed by Penn State? Or not that I don't know, not to air them out or anything, but how would they not notice?
He's a tough kid. He might have played through it, not really known. I mean, you're not trying to go get looked at all the time or miss time, So it's not that uncommon that you have an injury that sometimes goes unnoticed. I mean, there's oftentimes it's more of like the heart issues, things like that we find players discover, but this sort of thing happens too.
Wasn't that the same thing with Trey Smith, who's going to be the free agent in Kansas City? That's why he dropped in the draft. There was some stuff going on.
That's why he dropped in the draft too? What do you mean?
Yeah, he was projected to be a much higher draft pick, and then he went in like the fourth round later, or something like that.
But you said that as if he's dropping because of this.
No, he did drop.
Okay.
Trey Smith, he's going to be a free agent.
Okay,
I think the he had blood clots in his lungs or something like that, or a history of blood clots. That was more of the concern. Yeah. So a little different, but yeah.
If they did discover it at the Combine, I mean, you're talking about, that's not that type of injury you're dealing with. That's just not probably the most easily detected injury. I just don't see how. And you could feel something like I've had. Listen, when you're a football player, you some guys have crazy high pain thresholds. And what you would think is excruciating in your situation is really just nagging or uncomfortable. So I don't know if he knew of it. I don't know if they discovered it. I don't know the details on it. I just know that an injury like a irritated foot, because that's what it sounds like his foot's irritated. Like you put pressure on it, it's sore. I don't know to what degree or what capacity that is, but I mean, if you're saying that he gets a surgery now and he's 8 weeks removed from what he needs to do, or you just allow it to heal on its own, you give it time, and then you'll be back at regular speed. I don't see this being that big of a deal. I just don't see that.
It's not going to affect his draft status one way or another.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And honestly, I would tell him this: go, if you need the surgery, go get it. Like we've talked about before, the reasoning why guys wouldn't potentially participate at the Combine. Some could be medical related like this. Others are just like, yeah, there's no point. This isn't really conducive for me to succeed. This is also a team that played into January. And so we're talking about a month later, where even if he, did come out unblemished, it might be hard for him to prepare himself to test the way he'd like to test and prove himself. Like, the hard part for a lot of these guys is if you go out and run a 40 at the Combine and it doesn't go well, you know what happens? That's what gets posted. Like, you're going to go run it again at your pro day to try to improve, but the story's already out. Like, hey, he's slow. He didn't run a 4.4. We thought he was going to run a 4.4. And so that's the hard part about all this. As the college football season has extended for a lot of these guys, they don't have a lot of time to prepare themselves for what has become like kind of a track and field event. Now, that's not necessarily specifically the case here, but what I'd say to him is this is going to be the longest year of your life So go get surgery now. Like, get yourself prepared to play in September and not worry about all this stuff, because your film is ultimately what you're going to get drafted on, and maybe some of the interviews, etc. So if you do need surgery, go get it over with, so you can get back healthy, rehab, prepare yourself for your rookie NFL season, because it's going to feel like a long time. Like, you don't want this to be nagging you as you go into your rookie season, and then you have to miss time later on because you should have gotten surgery and you didn't. So I would say get the surgery, man. Like, go get this cleaned up, go get it fixed, go find a way of getting into your rookie season feeling as good as possible. If this is something that's nagging you now, it's only going to nag you more later, because it doesn't stop. Once you get drafted, you're going into OTAs, mini camps, all that stuff. You get a little time off in the summertime, but really you're training your body more than ever before to prepare for training camp. And once you get into training camp, it's the preseason, it's the start of the season, and it is a gauntlet for you as a player.
Yeah, I just wonder how serious in nature it is, because sometimes, I mean, it could be as simple a fix of getting, orthotics. They put that little steel plate underneath and take the, the scans of your foot and stuff like that, and they take the pressure off of certain spots. I know I'm tremendously flat-footed. Tremendous. Like, I am as flat-footed as flat-footed gets.
You can still pop it, though.
I could pop it.
Yeah, you can. You pop it. Jonas is flat-footed. He can pop it, too.
If you ain't got no arches in your feet, let me see you pop it.
Pop.
Anyway, they ended up getting me orthotics, and it clearly improved my level of life, my quality of life.
Can I ask this, though? Because I also got orthotics for a foot injury, and I thought it actually made my back worse.
Yeah,
Did you notice that?
Because it forced you to take on a different posture, and it's probably the posture that you should have had.
Yeah.
Like, it's probably the posture that you probably should have. I know for me, I'm a sloucher. I slouch. And when I haven't had my orthotics, I lost them when I moved out here. And that's the worst. It's the worst thing that ever happened to me, by the way. But
get some new ones.
Like, I would have to go through the whole process. It's like a whole process. Like, you step on this piece of glass. Well, the glass, and then they run they run the scan on it, and then you do the foam, and then they get that, and then they do the molds, and it's just this whole big thing.
Long.
No, it doesn't take that long. It's just a tedious process. Yeah, that's all. But the point I'm making, though, is there's the possibility that this is not as dire where you would need surgery, a surgical procedure. But I don't know. I don't know. And I don't want to speak out of term on it. I agree. If it is something he does or should, get that screw in his foot, then he should do it as soon. But in my mind, wouldn't you have done that already? Like, you had enough time to actually do. If you weren't going to do the combine, and then potentially if it keeps you from doing the pro day, which I can almost guarantee you it's a lock. He's doing the pro day. He's going to do the pro day. Knowing Abdul, not only is he going to do the pro day, but he's going to try to outperform what Micah did at his pro day. He's going to try to outperform.
What's the recovery time on that surgery? Like,
they said 8 weeks. They said like he could be back out in 8 weeks.
So he's going to do he's going to do the pro day while he's injured?
Yeah, but again, I mean, he played an entire season.
Damn.
I mean, I'm thinking I know what Q is saying makes sense, but if it's me, I'm doing my pro day before I do anything. I'm doing my pro day. I'm going to handle my pro day. I'm going to handle business on my pro day. I'm going to get through my pro day, and then I'm going to
stand on business.
I'm 100% sure he's going to stand on business, 10 toes down, and pop it. Pop it
with a hurt toe or foot.
Just hope he doesn't pop it. But
oh yeah, that'd be bad.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good. But listen, I've seen him working. Like he's not just sitting around like letting his foot heal. He's working out. So if this was that serious of an injury in nature, which it leads me to believe that he didn't know that it was there. Like, I'm a lean on the side of I don't think he even knew, let alone saying, why didn't Penn State staff pick up on this? Like, hey, I don't think he knew. I'm just assuming, but I don't think he knew he had that going on in his foot. And so now that they uncover that, I mean, it's something that he's probably going to have to address if he was unaware of it. But I would assume it's business as usual for him until he gets through the pro day.